In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Tyk with the Identity Broker and GitHub to authenticate a user for API access. We have an article on our Identity Broker wiki, which follows the same process. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can actually practically do this. So to follow along, you will need a working Tyk installation with the Tyk Identity Broker configured, and the Identity Broker must be accessible externally from GitHub so that it's able to make a callback. To achieve this, I've been using ngrok, so I've set that up with this URL, and it will forward it to my local Identity Broker instance, which is running on a Docker container. Okay, so what we'll need to do is fill out this profile configuration that's for the Identity Broker. At the moment, we have lots of missing bits of information, but we'll go through the process and fill all these things out. But the things that are already in here are the things that are sort of hard-coded, as it were. So the action type needs to be generate OAuth token for client. The ID should be a unique ID inside of the profile.json. So this is the fourth profile in this file, so I've called it 4. Then all the other settings should be like this, with the exception of the redirect URI. You should set this to a URL that's running on a web server. So I've just run a local web server on port 8000. And this is what this is going to call back to with the token. The same goes for this failure redirect URL. It just points at my local web server. The base callback URL is my ngrok server. This is what GitHub will use to call back to my Identity Broker. So this must be a publicly accessible URL, which GitHub can use to access the Identity Broker. All the other settings can just be set as you can see in here. Okay, so let's start by filling out some of these items. The ones we can fill out straight away are the credential and the org ID. So go over to your Tyk dashboard, go to users, select your user and edit it. And in here you have your dashboard credentials. So copy that and paste into the dashboard credential. Then take the organization ID, copy that, and paste into the org ID. Now we need to generate an API. So go to APIs, click on Add New API. Let's call this OAuth API. And the only other thing we need to set is the authentication mode. Set that to OAuth 2, select authorization code, select token, and save that. Now we need to create a policy. Click on policies, add policy, set the name to be OAuth API policy. Set the access rights to allow access to the API we just created, and create that. At this point, we can actually take this policy ID and put that into our profile, into the matched policy ID. Now we can go back into the API and generate the OAuth client. So go to the actions and select OAuth clients and add new client. The redirect URI is going to be of our local web server. So for me, this is this URL here. And the policy, select the policy that you just created. Now we have the OAuth client, we can take the client ID and secret. So if you edit it and scroll to the bottom, copy the client ID, paste that into the OAuth client ID up here, and do the same with the secret, take the client secret and paste it into secret. The redirect URI we already filled in, but you can you would take the redirect URI from here and paste it into the redirect URI. Now we just need the API ID and path. So let's go back to APIs and let's edit this API. The API ID is here at the top. Copy that, paste that to base API ID, and then for the listen path, we'll take the path here and paste that into API listen path. Next, we need to set up an OAuth application in GitHub so we can get the key and secret. So go over to your GitHub account, go to developer settings at OAuth apps, and then click on register a new application. I call mine Identity Broker. You can just set the URL and description. The important thing is to set the authorization callback URL. So for us, this is going to be our local ngrok in this instance, but you might have a different URL to use. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to paste that in. Use the special auth API endpoint for the identity broker. Then I have to refer to the profile I've created. For me, that's profile 4. And then because we're using GitHub, I need to put GitHub and then finish off with the callback parts of the path. Then I'll register that application. This gives me my client ID. So go back to the profile, put that in as the key, then take the client secret and put that as secret. Now we have our full profile defined. I can save the file, and I'll need to go to my Docker container and restart it. This will allow the identity broker to reload the profile so that it's able to accept requests for it. So what I can do now is if I open a new tab in my browser, I can go to my identity broker locally, which is available on port 3010, and I can go to this endpoint here to start the process. So if you had a web application which you were using that you wanted to utilize GitHub to authorize requests for API keys, then you would have that application call this endpoint here and it would start the process off. But I don't have a web application, so I'm just going to call it directly in the browser. What will happen is the identity broker redirects us using the OAuth application credentials I provided in the profile, and it will then show this page. So it's showing me the information that I put about the application that I made. So I can click on authorize. That will then approve the request of our identity broker, and it will then redirect back to the identity broker with a success. The identity broker will then use the OAuth client credentials, which we created in Tyk, to generate an access token. And here it is in the URL. So at this point, our web application would be able to access this URL and use the token. So if I now go over to Postman, if I try this, if I try sending a request to the API without any form of authentication, it will fail. But then if I add the key that I just generated into the request, it's a bearer authorization token, and send that request, then I can get access to the API. And that's how it works.